Here we are again, another tag video, the Freedom Fragrance Tag. All about fragrances that you would wear after lockdown and all this rubbish has stopped and we can start getting back to normal. So if you want to find out what I have chosen, well then you know what to do. Stay tuned. Hello, my name's Scott, this is the Centurion, and yes, today is another tag video. I was tagged by the beautiful, the wonderful Claire from the SmurfyGurly channel, and she tagged all of the bean sprays, which is a small group of us, and so therefore what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the tag open for any of you guys to do. Now this tag is Freedom fragrances that we would wear once lockdown has been lifted, and we can go about our merry way and, you know, do the things that we've been longing to do for so long. So as I said, I'll leave the tag open. Please do it, because it's a feel-good tag. It's going to make you feel good doing it, and it gives you good vibes and thoughts. So let's go on to the first one. Now the first one is a quiet night in the pub. Now for me I have picked Zaharoff Signature Noir. Now I haven't had these long, and I am going to be doing a full review of this and Royale in the near future. But for now, this is going to be my chosen for a quiet night in the pub. Now this has got notes of basil, coriander, pink pepper, mandarin, bergamot, ginger root, blonde cedar, anise, cypress, freesia, fir balsam, sandalwood, tonka bean, frankincense, oud and myrrh. Now on this, and I've sprayed it on this hand, you get a beautiful hit of ginger. It is, to my nose, the most prominent, but it's got a slight fizziness to it. It almost gives it a sort of a shandy type, a lemonade feel about it. It's got a fruitiness to it as well, and the sandalwood is always top notch in George Zaharoff's fragrances. They are beautiful. The myrrh and the frankincense and the oud are the star players in this. Absolutely gorgeous to wear, subtle but classy and beautiful. That is Zaharoff Signature Noir. Now on to the next one, which is a busy night in the pub. Now everyone's been itching to go and have a pint or a glass of wine, haven't they? You know, get out of the same four walls. And I bet a lot of people are going to have the same idea, aren't they? So you're going to need a fragrance that's going to cut above all of them designer fragrances that people wear, and make a statement, aren't you? And something bold but classy is Molinard Cuir. This has got a beautiful suede note in it. It's really like a fluffy suede, but it's rich. There's oud in there, lemon, saffron. It's an absolutely gorgeous fragrance. It's quite spicy. It reminds me a bit of like a Middle Eastern market with all the different spices and what have you, but rich and decadent. And that is absolutely beautiful. Molinard Cuir for a busy night in the pub. Now on to the third one, which is lunch or coffee with friends or family. Now I'm a big coffee lover, so I would pick going out for a coffee. I love to choose my coffee and then have like a panini and a cake afterwards. I shouldn't have a cake because I'm diabetic, but a little bit doesn't hurt. And what I would pick to go along with them aromas of the fresh coffee being brewed and the cakes and what have you is Maison France's Grand Soir. This is a beautiful fragrance. It's so vanillic and ambery. It's the best amber on the market, in my eyes. It is beautiful, and that would just be, it's not overly sickly, but it would really complement the coffee smell, I think, and it would just go down a treat with your friends or family. So that is for lunch or coffee with friends or family, Maison France's Grand Soir. So let's get on to lunch with family. Now this is Zaharoff Signature Royale. It's the brother to Noir, and this has got notes of cardamom, citrus blend, juniper, apple, lavender, pimento leaves, magnolia, sandalwood, patchouli, oud. Is a wood blend, cedar wood, and suede and vanilla. absolutely gorgeous. I get with this, I get a beautiful honey note in there. Now there's no honey listed at all, and I don't think there is honey in there. I think that's coming from either the frankincense or the myrrh, or maybe a combination of the both, because there's like a powdery resinous to it, but it's sweet as well, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It really does give it a different dimension to all the others that are in his that George Zaharoff has made. So it's a fantastic fragrance, just like the other one, beautiful, and that is Lunch with Family. Now, this one it's a weird one. I'm not going to change it. I'm going to keep it the same as Claire's. But going to the zoo or the animal park, I think she actually turned around and said that she was going to see the goats. But each their own. There's nothing wrong with goats. I like goats. But if you're going to, I think Lizzie, when she done hers, she stipulated this with her choice as well, and I totally agree. And I'm not trying to steal it. But with animals, they've got a heightened sense of smell, so you don't want to be bumbling into a zoo or an animal park or some kind of sanctuary and offending the animals with your oud type fragrance. So I've picked something that's just a tiny bit woody and very subtle, that isn't going to project but is going to make me feel clean and smell pleasant, and it is by Penhaligons, and it is Quercus. Now, this has been likened to CK1, and it's very much like Paco by Paco Rabanne as well. It's a niche version of them basically. It's got citruses in and woods, and it's a very pleasant smell, and I don't think it's got a slight soapiness to it as well, and I don't think you'd be offending man nor animal with that one, to be quite honest. It's not very strong, but it's perfect for them sorts of days. So that is for going to visit a zoo or an animal park. Now on to the next one, and it is going to a gig. Now believe it or not, you probably wouldn't think so by the way that I'm dressed, but I am very much into my rock music, specifically the 80s style of rock and metal and what have you. So to cut through all of the whiffs, should we say, of a crowded gig, so what I would pick is Electimuss Rhodanthe. I've mentioned this quite a few times. This has got, it's beautiful. This has got a beautiful Bulgarian rose in it. It's got saffron, there's oud in there, and it is just so, it's sweet, it's juicy, it's strong, but it's not overpowering. It's subtle, but it's a statement piece as well. People are going to know you're coming, that's for sure. It projects really well. It's not offensive. It's not like something like Interlude Man or anything like that. It's not going to clear a path for you like 100 yards in front. This, people are gonna want to be near you because it draws people in, and that is Electimuss Rhodanthe, a beautiful fragrance. Now the next one on the list is travelling. Now travelling on a plane or a train, we're all going to want to go on holiday, I suppose, aren't we, because people are already booking up. And again, it's a bit like with the Animal Sanctuary Zoo one. You want to be smelling good, but you don't want to be offending people because you're in close proximity to lots of people for what would be quite a long time, depending on where you're flying or traveling to. So for this, I have picked quite a subtle but a beautiful fragrance, and it's by Floris, and it is Santal. This is my most favourite sort of vanillic sandalwood fragrance. It's not overly woody, but there is a beautiful sandalwood note in there. It's got luscious vanilla in there. It's quite powdery, but not to the extent that it smells like makeup and things like that. It's just gorgeous, and it's got a little bit of lavender in there as well. There's some, I think there's even some rose in there, I might be wrong. It's got florals in there. It's just it's a beautiful fragrance. Suits very much what I'm wearing today, to be quite honest, and would make a great office fragrance as well. But that is Floris's Santal. Now the next one is I don't know how I've got to do ice skating or swimming. Now, if I was to do either of them things, I'd probably end up in hospital. So if I do end up in hospital, I'll then be going back to the Floris. But if I do survive it, what I will be wearing when I finally get my ice skates on is Hugo Boss Oud Saffron. This is a fairly new one, and this is a great starter oud. If you want something with quality that's got a nice rose in it, oodles of saffron, is spicy and projects really well. It's got good longevity. This can be picked up really cheaply at the moment. I think it's still for around about £45-ish on Notino. The offer might have gone off, but do keep an eye out because it does come up every once in a while. For 100ml, it's a fantastic fragrance, and oh, that saffron is just beautiful. It really is. It's not overly spicy. It's quite sweet, and that's what I like about it. It's fruity, it's sweet, it's a little bit oudy, but that's that saffron as well. Like a bit of pink pepper in there as well. Hugo Boss Oud Saffron, beautiful fragrance. Now on to the second from last, the penultimate, and it is going to a farmer's market, or maybe a French market, or an outdoor market, or something or other like that. Just out and about, looking for different types of food because you've had to get your food delivered from the same old supermarket and things like that. So you want something that's been freshly made, something that's a little bit artisan maybe. Maybe pick up some crafts as well, some nice ornaments for the house that you've been sick of the sight of for a while. And for that, I have picked Mancera's Cedrat Boisé. This has been likened to, as you probably already know, Creed's Aventus. There's a lot of similarities out there, and yeah, it is similar, but this, instead of that pineapple that you get in Aventus, you've got a beautiful bergamot and lemon note in the beginning of this, and there's also, I don't know if it's in there, it also smells like there's lime in there as well. It's really fresh. It starts off ever so fresh, like freshly squeezed lemons, and quite sherbety as well, which is really nice. But then as it dries down, it becomes a beautiful woody fragrance, and then the citruses start to burn off, and they're just in the background, just lingering there, holding on for dear life, and that's when the woods take over. And that is a fantastic fragrance. You can always pick that up on sale for anywhere between 50 and 70, 80 pounds for 120ml of eau de parfum. It is a fantastic fragrance, and one that I highly recommend. So that is for farmers market or French market or outdoor market. Now this is the last one, and this is for a day out by the seaside maybe, or the coast, or going to a coastal town. I'm lucky that I'm only at the very most 30 miles away from the coast, and at the closest about 20 miles. So there's some really beautiful old coastal towns that are very near me, like Sheringham and Cromer and places like that. Now I was thinking I want something that's going to be summery, but something that's going to be clean and fresh, and something that's going to be non-offensive, but it's still going to make that bold statement. And I've picked, yet again, Milano Cento Him, and it's got all of your, it's an aromatic fougere, it's got your aromatics in, you've got your lavender in there. Lavender is a big huge player in this, but it's a beautiful lavender. This reminds me ever so much of the old style barbershop fragrances of the past. You know, the ones that have sadly been discontinued, or that for one reason or another, I think you know the reasons, notes have not been allowed in there, so they've had to reformulate, and they've been a shadow of their former selves. Well, this brings that all back. It brings back them memories, but it's also got that modern twist to it as well. An absolutely fantastic fragrance, really clean, will last you all day in the sun on the coast. So they are my 10 fragrances that are for freedom. Let's all have a countdown to freedom, shall we? So if you did like the video, then please like, comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, and keep safe out there. And I will see you all very, very soon. Thank you very much.